All Hallows Art Challenge Day 1, Cemetery. This is an art challenge that I did for Halloween of 2021, but I never posted it to YouTube. So I figured, why not do it now, even though we're in the middle of winter. For this first prompt, I created some pendants out of polymer clay and acrylic paint. This is the first of 31. Thank you for watching and subscribe for more. Day 2, which is familiar. Right off the bat, I knew that I wanted to make a snake, and I had some purples lying around from another project, so I recycled them into this one. I do this a lot, by the way. Not a single speckle of clay is ever wasted. I also had these earrings that failed that had eyeballs in them. They failed because the earrings that I bought, like the bases, broke. And instead of throwing them out, I made my little snaky familiar hold them as though he was assisting his witch friend. I gave him a little witch's hat, although he is not a witch, he is just a familiar. And like with the ball full of eyeballs, he is also assisting the witch by holding her book. This is how the little snaky friend turned out. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 3, Jack-o'-lantern. If there is one thing in life that I'm good at, it is making pumpkins. I could make these suckers in my sleep. So to challenge myself this time, instead of just making a regular pumpkin, I cut its head off, as one does. So my plan for this guy was to have a bunch of candy and guts and eyeballs coming out of its body. So I did that using some soft clay for the guts and some pre-baked candy corn and eyeballs, as well as adhering everything together through the magic of liquid clay. Once that was done, I put the cap back on its head, and that was that. Here's how it turned out. Thank y'all for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 4, Danse Macabre. Y'all, I will admit right away that this was a complete and utter failure on every single part. It was a mess, and not a hot mess, just straight up a mess. I had a frame that I made out of epoxy resin at some point left over, and I had this great plan of skeleton silhouettes dancing in like a graveyard, you know, and I was going to paint that on. And then halfway through, I was like, wow, this looks like trash. So I thought to myself, why don't I actually just make the silhouettes out of polymer clay? And then I threw in a human woman, and it looks terrible. It just... I kept trying to fix it, and then I ran out of time, called it a day, and this was the final product. It looks horrible. Thanks for watching this mess, and subscribe for more. Hopefully not more messes. Day 5, Black Forest. I wanted to redeem myself after the monumental failure that was yesterday's prompt. And I set about doing so by making a larger piece, a much nicer larger piece. So I created this flat diorama of a haunted forest. Now, I have been to the actual Black Forest before when I was a kid, and the trees there are much thicker than the ones that I created here, but the thicker ones just didn't work with the design that I had in mind. I had so much fun adding moss and rocks and leaves and texturing everything on this one. It's probably the most fun I've had creating something out of polymer clay in a long time. Not that I don't enjoy claying normally. I really do. It's my hobby. It's a pastime. I love it. It's just that this one had, I don't know, there was something special about it, and I really, really liked it. And I think it shows in a final product. I think you can really tell the passion that went into it. In any case, thanks for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 6, Guillotine. I started by using a rectangle cutter to cut out the shape of my guillotine. Then, using a square and circular cutter, I cut out the spots for where the guillotine actually slices down and where you put the head. I put an eye pin on the top so that it could be turned into a necklace, and another eye pin inside of the square that I created. And this would serve to hook up the slicey contraption. I used the same cutter to cut out a slicey slice and trimmed it to size. I added a bit of silver powder to make it metallic, and then I mixed red clay with liquid clay to create blood. But do not worry, this is actually ketchup. This is a fake replica of a fake guillotine. And in the fake reality where this was an actual guillotine, it was only cutting tomatoes. This is how it turned out. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 7, Werewolf. I started by creating a background inside of an open bezel. I went with a starry night sky and a field of grass. I mixed a bit of blue into my grass to make it more night colored. Obviously this was dark blue, not like cobalt. I used glow-in-the-dark clay to make a full moon and tried to make a plaid shirt. Didn't really work out, but it still looks fine. I don't know why I have this mental image of werewolves wearing plaid. No clue why. I made him some jeans, some arms, and then I worked on the face. At this scale, it is not the best. I dare say it kind of looks a little derpy, but I was doing my best. That's the thing with these art challenges. Sometimes they take you out of your comfort zone and you try things and you fail, and sometimes you try things and they work out really well. This is somewhere in between. Thank y'all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 8, Seance. I had a very clear vision for this prompt. I wanted cats having a seance. So I made myself a base out of cardboard for the table and made myself a tablecloth with spooky bats on it just for fun. And then I started on the cats. The first one is a tabby, and this is our quote-unquote psychic cat. It has its paws on the table and it is looking into the glass ball. On the other side of the table there is a couple of cats as well. Like literally 2, but also they are a cat couple. I don't know why that matters, but in my head there were a couple that came in to have their seance done. So there's a gray one in a tuxedo because I wanted some variety. We also have a pale ghost cat over here, which is either a real ghost or is a cat dressed in a sheet. And under the table you might notice another little cat, revealing that this is all a hoax. Because even in the cat world there are charlatans. Thanks for watching, subscribe for more. Day 9, Trick or Treat. This was easy peasy lemon squeezy. I made myself a ghost going out trick-or-treating. My only regret is that I didn't make his bag any fancier than it was. It's just a standard like brown lunch bag basically. So I made it arms to wrap around the bag. You might notice that I only wrapped one around the bag. I would love to tell you that there was a reason behind that logic. I think I just kind of forgot to do the second one while I was working on this. I skipped to the face and then I skipped to the candy, and then at some point I'm like, oh yeah, I need to add the other arm. So in the meantime, it's just laying there, alone, waiting for its time. And there we go. After the candy was added, I remembered to put it there. This is how it turned out. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more. Day 10, Anatomical Venus. And as the title implies, there are guts and there is anatomy. So my plan here was to combine the anatomical Venus. If you don't know what that looks like, just, I guess, Google it, but caution, guts and gore. So to combine that with kind of like the birth of Venus, the painting. Also Google that. No warning about guts for that one, but there is, nudity. Anyways, I was going for a mashup, bit off way more than I could chew. Found out I'm not great at making bodies, especially not human bodies at this size. Tried to hide my failures with seaweed and coral and moss, and died of shame. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more failures in the near future. Day 11, Dark Academia. My plan going into this prompt was to create a bookshelf that would go into the study of someone in the Dark Academia aesthetic group, I guess. And then to miniaturize that bookshelf and turn it into a pendant. For the background, I went with muted colors, and I mixed the colors of the books with ecru to also make them a little bit more muted. I find myself in these projects using ecru a lot because it's a good color to mute other colors, and the pigmentation of it, like physically in the polymer clay, isn't too strong, so it doesn't like completely overpower anything else. Because color mixing with polymer clay does not work the same way it does with like acrylic paint or crayons or something. Like it can get a little bit wonky. Anyhow, for the dark part of the Dark Academia, I added a skull. Love me some skulls. And I finished adding more books. This is how it turned out. Thank y'all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 12, Phantom. I could have gone many different ways with this prompt, but I chose to interpret it as the Phantom of the Opera, so that is what I made. I made the base of my head out of ecru, and then marbled ecru with some very dark red to make the skirt section. I like to think he has kind of like a Zuko from Avatar thing going on. I made his luscious hair, using my needle tool, of course, to texture it. And then I proceeded to make the weirdest mouth in all of recorded history. Don't know why I made his lips so luscious. Thankfully, half of them will be hidden behind the mask. I wanted the mask to sit on its face, so I cooked the head first, then made the mask and molded it against the head. Then I turned them into a necklace. This is how it turned out. Thank you for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 13, Coven. This coven of witches is made up of my favorite thing in the entire world, and that is pumpkins. There are 5 witchy pumpkins. I gave them each different expressions, using a dotting tool, a needle tool, and a very small ball tool to help extend the mouths. I shaded in the eyes and the mouths using black chalk pastels, then made some witchy hats for my pumpkins. Some hats are big, some hats are small. It all depends on the pumpkin. For the diorama's base, I went with a simple blob of grass. And then I carved in a pentagram and used mica powders to give it some magical shimmer. There are a few different colors of mica powders, but you can't really tell. I added my witch pumpkins to the base, and to give it a bit more dimension and to help lock the pumpkins in place, I added bushes everywhere. This is how my coven turned out. Thank y'all for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 14, Necromancy. I used a lot of leftovers from yesterday's coven diorama to make this micro diorama, which is why the grass is the exact same color. Since this is a necromancer, obviously I had to have a fresh grave and a tombstone, and of course the necromancer performing its unholy ritual. I gave them dark flowy robes, and I spread their arms outwards. In my head they were summoning, the dead, but I see that it also kind of looks like they are going down a very, very fun roller coaster. I added some blue and purple mica powder to the robes just to give them some magical sheen, and then worked on some accessories. So basically I made them a book and some candles. It is very hard to see in this lighting, but there is an arm reaching out from the grave and just the semblance of a face coming out. This is how the micro diorama turned out. Thank y'all for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 15, Vampire. After making 2 dioramas in a row, I decided to take it easy and go with simply a vampire pumpkin. I chose to make it a white pumpkin because, vampires have pale skin. And I gave it menacing eyes and a big ol' grin. To give the piece a little bit of color, I added a vine, which I should have styled like Dracula-ish hair, and I didn't, and that was definitely a missed opportunity. I gave the hollows of the eyes and the mouth a little bit of red mica powder to make them red, and added a gold color clay inside of the eyes to make the actual eyeballs. Last but not least, I gave it fangs and drizzled some tomato juice, wink wink, on its mouth because it has recently fed. This is how it turned out. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 16, Memento Mori. I started by making a very tiny skull. I used my needle tool as well as dotting tools of various sizes to sculpt the details of the skull. Now, obviously at this scale, it's not going to be the most anatomically correct skull in the world, but I think I did a pretty good job all the same. I used some black chalk pastels that I partially wiped off afterwards using a cleaning cloth to add shading and some dirt to the skull. Now, I was turning this into a pendant, and I was trying to do a little bit of a earthy meets human remains kind of motif. So I went with a green background made out of resin and mica powders, dried flowers, and I think that was star sand that I used. It's whatever I had on hand, basically. Once I was done, I cured the resin, attached the necklace, and this is the final product. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 17, Cauldron. I made the basic shape of a cauldron and flattened it against my work surface because I have learned from experience that pendants are way more comfortable when the backs are flat. Every time I added to this piece, such as adding the bubbling goop, whatever you want to call it, I would again press it against my work surface to make sure that it was flat on the other side. I wanted my potion to overflow and to have some bubbles, so I did that using snakes of clay and rolled up bubbles of clay. You can't really tell, but there is a little bit of mica powder mixed in with the green to make it shimmer. Make it magical, essentially. For the fire, I marbled red and yellow, forming little snakes of clay and pressing them onto the base of my cauldron. I also did a lot of smoothing around the back to make sure that everything was really stuck together. This is how it turned out. Thank y'all for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 18, Midnight Ride. So I don't know how to make a horse. What I do know about horses is that they are notoriously hard to make. All this to say that I thought making a cow would be way easier. And since I'm not American, I'm Canadian, the Midnight Ride doesn't really mean anything to me. And I don't mean that disrespectfully, I just mean like I didn't grow up hearing stories of this, so I would rather just have fun and make a guy riding a cow at midnight than to try and make a historical piece with a horse that I would for sure massacre in trying to make. So this is not a reimagining of the Midnight Ride, the historic event. This is some guy riding a cow at midnight. Thank y'all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 19, Haunted House. For this project, I had some Halloweeny molds that I was dying to try out, so I decided to make this haunted house out of UV resin. Since the pieces come out backwards when you use a mold, I started with the details that would go on the front, so grass at the bottom and tomato juice coming out of various windows and the rooftops and stuff. I then poured in the base color, cleaned it up a little bit, and glued on some resin ghosts. I did a quick pass doming the top to help secure the ghosts in place, and that was that. This is my haunted house. Thank y'all for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 20, Full Moon. I marbled ecru and glow-in-the-dark clay to make my moon base. Wow, that really makes it sound like I'm talking about a base on the moon, and not the base of my form. But whatever. I split my clay in half and rolled 2 balls because this was going to be earrings, and then used a combination of stabby tools, silicone tools, as well as dotting tools to texture my moon and give it some craters. Once they were baked, I attached them to my earring hooks, and that was that. And this is how they turned out. If you wait a second, I will show you what they look like in the dark as well. And in the meantime, thank y'all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 21, Candlelight. So I really wanted this piece to glow, but I didn't have red or yellow glow-in-the-dark clay. I don't even know if that exists. I do, however, have quite a lot of glow-in-the-dark clay, which is a kind of beigey color, as you can see right here. So I figured if I can't make the fires glow, at least I can make the sticks of the candles glow. I think this was a good compromise, even though it makes 0 sense for the candlestick to be glowing and not the fire, but hey, you gotta work with what you have, right? For the stems, I used actual pieces of metal, and then I added some wax melting off of the tops. Unfortunately, I do not have footage of this in the dark. This is how it turned out. Thank you all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 22, Demonology. My plan was to make a nondescript demon summoning book and have a demon claw like tearing out of the pages. I tried to make a sort of leathery colored cover, on top of which I used some stamps, and I also used a stamp on the inside to make the summoning circle. It was just a random Mandela stamp, and I was like, perfect, there we go. As always, to add a bit of magical sheen, I used mica powders, and then I worked on my demon hand. Y'all, hands are hard to make. Spent the most time on this project trying to work on this hand, trying to shape it a little bit more naturally, not entirely succeeding. Let's just excuse the imperfections on the fact that it's a demonic hand and not my lack of skill. I added a few finishing touches, and this is how it turned out. Thank y'all for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 23, Spiderweb. This one was pretty simple. I had a spiderweb roller, so I used it to make a crescent moon pendant with the print on it. Once everything was stamped on and cut, I applied some mica powder to give it some shimmer and to make the design pop. I baked it, attached it to a string, and then I varnished it, which is the wrong order to do things. Definitely should have varnished it before I attached it to the rope, but whatever. This is how it turned out. Thanks for watching, and subscribe for more. Day 24, Witch's Garden. This prompt was the perfect opportunity to make another miniature diorama. I made my witch's house a pumpkin shape, and its roof is kind of like a witch's hat with a chimney on it. I used the color gray granite to make the stony path up to the house, then added greenery, bushes, fake flowers that were actually tiny little gemstones. Also added more detail to the house before I started working on the garden elements. The first part of the garden is a pumpkin patch with the tiniest pumpkins I have ever made. And the second part were mystical looking flowers. They were mixed with mica powders and gems and glitter to make them really look magical. They just don't show up that well on video, but in person, they look magic. I then added more bushes, crows, and a witch's cauldron. This is how it turned out. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more. Day 25, Magical Creature. I know the spirit of this prompt probably meant something like a unicorn or a dragon or a griffin or something, but I wanted to make a magician kitty. So I started with the base form of a cat. I made him a little magician's hat, a cape, which I trimmed to size, and painted the most pathetic stars imaginable. I tried really hard, but yeah, stars are hard to paint. As a final touch, I gave the cape a little string to hold it together and baked everything, and this is how it turned out. This is my magical creature. Thank y'all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 26, Apothecary. I knew I wanted a potion bottle for this, and I just so happened to have ruined an experiment I was working on. Let's just say the bottle in the background, the blue one over there. Yeah, it was supposed to shift from blue to red when you shook it, but the thing I used to make the color shift just like coagulated in the bottom, and yeah, it turned into something really weird. Something that looked like a monster. A monster that I called Specimen X. I made a little label for it that says Specimen X, not for human consumption. Yes, do not eat my evil creature. I quote-unquote sealed it in place using resin to make it look like fake wax, and attached little charms to it that I made out of resin as well. This is how Specimen X turned out. Thank y'all for watching. Do not consume Specimen X. Subscribe for more. Day 27, Grim Reaper. Now, I had a Grim Reaper bezel and a lot of UV resin, so I put both of these things together to accomplish this prompt. Please note that you should always wear protective equipment while working with UV resin. That is to say, wear a mask, goggles, and nitrile gloves. Do not do like I am doing in this video where I'm not wearing gloves, because resin is dangerous. I was wearing the other protective equipment though, just like for the record. Anyway, I filled in my Grim Reaper's body with color, domed the top, and that was that. This is how it turned out. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more. Day 28, Celestial. For this prompt, I used wood cutouts from the dollar store, and I painted them with acrylic paint. So my plan was to make a wall hanging. You can see that there's two moons. They are not going to be connected in the wall hanging. I just knew that I would want to keep one of these, so I made two, so I would have one for myself. I gave these guys many coats of paint, mostly purples, and then I used some white and blended it into the purple to make like galactic swirls, and also some black to make the space. Once happy with my galactic base, I use white paint, a toothbrush, and water to sprinkle stars over my figures, which is the absolute best part of doing anything space related. Once everything was dry, I varnished it and then attached the pieces together to create this wall hanging. One was sold and the other is in my living room right now. Thanks for watching and subscribe for more. Day 29, Hocus Pocus. I will admit that I've never watched this movie, so I don't have any like nostalgic attachment to it. I don't know much about it. So I basically just Googled the movie, saw something that looked cool to make, and I went with that. As I was creating this magical tome, I was looking at screenshots of it to try and make sure I got it as close to accurate as I could. But it is entirely possible that I got stuff wrong. The screenshots were not the best, and I made this before the remake, so I don't know if there's like more higher quality versions of these images available now, but I personally think that it looked pretty cool. Also, props to the design department for making something creepy but also like child appropriate. Once it was baked, I ended up turning it into a keychain. This is how it turned out. Thank y'all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 30, Saturday Evening Ghost. So I don't know if like a Saturday evening ghost is a thing or if it was just like a fun prompt that the prompt creator came up with. But either way, when I saw the prompt, I knew I wanted a ghost watching TV on a couch. I made the base of the couch out of aluminum foil to save on clay and covered it in clay. As for the ghost, I wanted him to be in some jammies, so I used a silk screen to apply a pattern to his ethereal sheet. I then gave it its ghostly silhouette shape and laid it on the couch before giving it a face and a remote control. I made the television the same way that I made the couch by using aluminum foil as the base and covering it with clay. The static was made with leftover clay from the ghost, since it was already static looking. Why not? This is how it turned out. Thank you all for watching and subscribe for more. Day 31, All Hallows. This is the last of the 31-day blitz, and I wanted something special as this last project, so I am making a wall-hanging diorama thingamabob of a Halloween-y driveway leading up to a haunted house. I admit I could have gone with spookier colors than pink for the house. My bad. But really, it just goes to show you that it's not just the old derelict houses that are haunted. Sometimes a very normal, beautiful suburban home can also be just crawling with ghosts. And that is the case here. Of course, the driveway is lined with just a ton of pumpkins. Anyways, I had a lot of fun working on this art challenge, and I hope that y'all enjoyed it. Some of the prompts really got me out of my comfort zone, and that was fun. But it was also exhausting. This is how the final prompt turned out. Thank y'all for watching, and subscribe for more.